Now, the International Monetary Fund has warned that the world's battered economy is heading for its worst year since the Great Depression. Well, global markets are forecast to shrink by 3% before the end of December. Despite the bleak assessment, the IMF's chief economist says markets could bounce back by 2021.
This makes the Great Lockdown the worst recession since the Great Depression and far worse than the global financial crises. Assuming the pandemic fades in the second half of 2020 and that policy actions taken around the world are effective in preventing widespread firm bankruptcies, extended job losses, and system-wide financial strains, we project global growth in 2021 to rebound to 5.8%.
Well, ING economist James Smith told me what an economic recovery might look like.
Yeah, I think what the IMF is saying is what all the other economists have been saying, that this shock is going to be much deeper than the global financial crisis, but also, worryingly, much quicker to take hold than what we saw back in 2008. Just look at unemployment in the US. It spiked to levels we saw after 2.5 years of the global financial crisis in just a couple of weeks. But the key question now, as that clip before just said, is what does the recovery look like? And the hope is that all of these measures, the job retention schemes, the loan guarantees that are being offered to firms, that will help the economy recover more quickly. But we're a little bit more concerned. Such as the onset of this crisis, such as the speed, there will be firms that slip through the safety net, and unemployment, unfortunately, will stay a little bit higher for longer. So I think the risk is we get a kind of U-shaped economy. So we get the big dip in the second quarter, but it takes potentially a year or two to get back to levels we saw before the virus took hold.
So in terms of longevity, less long than the 2008 financial crisis, but a very sharp shock next year and this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think nobody's disagreed that there's going to be a big shock in the second quarter with all the lockdowns taking hold. The question is really how big is the fall in GDP going to be? But I think after that, it's going to depend on, as I said, the government measures, what a default rate's going to look like. You know, we've got a number of measures, a lot target the large credit-worthy firms, a lot target small businesses, but there's a lot of firms in the middle who maybe don't have the full support measures they need in various countries. So in different places, different circumstances exist. There are going to be firms that don't come out of this, the other side of all of this in the same shape. And as I mentioned, therefore, there's going to be a component of unemployment that is going to be longer lasting.